G'day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to take a look at the brand new event, the Bootcamp. This is the special Bootcamp for the Ginyu Force, and it's a heavy attack themed Bootcamp, and basically it's just essentially about raising your arts core level and completing a bunch of missions and battles so that you can achieve some pretty nice currency that enables you to get some arts boost material. So it's a great opportunity to focus on a couple units you want to, alongside as well the really cool reward of the Ginyu Force costume for Shallot, which will give him the Ginyu Force tag, which is actually pretty good and pretty important for him as well. There is a bonus battle stage. This will give you a bunch of medals, and completing the missions will also give you a bunch of medals, and these Ginyu Force medals, so to say, enable you to grab a ton of arts boost materials as well. So it's all pretty fairly important stuff. Now outside of that, there are some requirements for each stage. To complete some of them, you're going to need a level 10 arts boost, or a level 20, level 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 69. So you're going to need to have that covered before you're going to be able to do anything. You also get a whole bunch of voice lines, and there's a pretty good piece of gear as well, which is pretty interesting. So there's actually a lot that you can gain from this event itself. There's a lot of really cool stuff, really cool equipment, and just good rewards. It's also an excuse to really work on arts boosting your characters. So now how it works essentially is there's a couple stages here. The top row of stages are just stages to obtain some medals, which is going to be important. You're going to use these medals to start initiating the arts boost process on your characters. These are fairly straightforward, the challenges are fairly straightforward, and there's no conditional requirement to taking them on. So there's no requirement to use units that are X level of strength or have X level of arts boost or anything like that. And these battles are very, very straightforward. So we're going to do one of these battles. You can use whatever team you like. To complete the missions, I'm going to be using event exclusive units. I suggest you do not. I suggest you take the 3 units that you honestly want to work on the most when it comes to arts boosting, or you want to buff the most, and you use these units to take on this event, because the units you art boost will gain a boost in PvP, and it's an excuse to really work on 3 units that you kind of really want to. So instead of using your materials on free-to-play units like I am, you can use it on more accessible units, and you definitely should. Now you'll see that you get a whole bunch of these medals, and these medals are pretty valuable. You can exchange them for arts cores, seed exchange medals, and all of these are going to come in handy during the upgrade process. As you work along, you'll get more and more, and then you'll be able to take on the heavy attack training battles, which is the bottom row. Now to take these on, you don't necessarily need to have your arts boost leveled up. It's not like it doesn't prohibit you, but you'll do like no damage if you do not have them leveled up. So it's highly advisable that you do level them up, because it's going to be very necessary for you to actually do damage, to make progress, and all of that's just kind of mandatory. There are some missions for this, and these missions also drop a ton of these medals, so keep your eyes on these missions. A lot of them are to do with upgrading or attempting to upgrade. A lot of them are to do with stuff you'll do along the way. So collect your medals from here, because it's going to be a valuable resource for you as well. Outside of that, you get some card sleeves from these missions, which is pretty cool, and the Shallot gear will drop from the last stage of the heavy training, so that is the bottom row. The last stage of the top row is actually a daily bonus stage, and that's also going to be important for improving the amount of medals that you can get, which again increases your access to resources. So we'll head back to the event. What we'll do is we're going to skip ahead in time a little bit to the point where obviously I've done the top of the line, and then we can take a look at the bonus stage, and then we'll look at the bottom row. So you can see here's the bonus stage. The bonus stage is super duper simple. What I can suggest is you grab the Freezer Force free-to-play units, because if you don't have these summonable units, these guys will at least net you a bit of a gain when it comes to the medal drop rate. Now you can get these guys exchanging for full power medals, and I'll show you that after the battle. The battle itself and the challenges involved are nothing too strenuous. It's not particularly difficult, although it's obviously not ideal. But it's not anything particularly difficult that you have to do here. It's a super duper easy stage that you can take on with anyone. Remember, again, you don't have any arts boost requirements for this specific fight. So this one's super simple, and you want to do it straight away. You want to at least get the top row done like as soon as possible, because this is a daily bonus stage. So you want to make sure that you do this. Also, doing this daily bonus stage 3 times counts towards some of the missions. So it's something I highly suggest, and it's not that hard. It's really straightforward. So yeah, that is basically the daily bonus stage. To get the characters to improve the resource drops, you are going to need full power medals. You can use these characters or obtain these characters from the exchange shop. So if you go to the exchange section and you go to the full power section, which is under the temporary or recommended events, you can find it here at the bottom, and you can exchange for these characters. Now, is it worth it to increase the drop rates? Yes, kind of, depending on how hard you want to go on this event. They're also somewhat usable for things like, Zenkai Ultra Space Time Rush and that. But yeah, just depends on what you want to do. So the next step that we have is arts boosting. So before you take on the bottom row, you need to arts boost your units. Now, I'm going to be using free-to-play units. I highly suggest that you use units you want to use, because again, as I mentioned, arts boosting actually does use a lot of resources. It's not something you want to waste time on. The rarity of units does affect the resources, but not a major amount. Like, it affects the Zenny cost, it does affect some of the shard costing. You can see here, for example, it's going to cost us a certain amount, like 11 million in Zenny, etc., to get him upgraded. Now, you're going to need to upgrade whatever unit you choose to level 70. The final fight against Ginyu in the bottom row requires 69 or above as your level skill cap for your arts boosts to do damage. So what that means is, you're going to have to get to level 70. You don't have to get all of their skills up to level 70. Like for example, my melee unit that I took in, I only raised his melee strike arts attack. My support unit, I kind of raised all 3. And then my blast unit, I raised his blast and his ulti to 70. You don't have to do every single arts boost on all the units to 70. If they are a melee unit, or you're using a melee build or melee units, don't waste resources doing blast attack just yet. You can if you want, but rather just boost their melee. There's no point wasting resources. It's honestly just something you should consider doing. So then once you've done that, or if you need more resources, you can grab them from the exchange shop. It's highly suggestible that you do, especially the seed exchange medals. Those are going to be the most helpful, especially in the beginning. So now we're going to skip ahead to the point where we are taking on Captain Ginyu. You can see we've cleared all the previous ones. The missions themselves for each stage are pretty straightforward, clearing under a certain timer count and without a single casualty. With the free-to-play units, it is getting a little bit harder, and obviously with me kind of just only raising certain arts boosts, it does make it a little bit tougher. But at the end of the day, you can get it done and rather save resources this way. Of course, I do suggest doing it with units you actually like, and stronger units will make your time a lot easier. Using Freezer Force units does help double up on some missions, but it's not the end of the world. You don't have to do it here. There are mission requirements for Freezer Force units, but you can always come back and just equip one or put one in your team, finish the missions with them, and then switch over to the other ones. It's not absolutely necessary. It's just something you can do. But yeah, rather focus on doing arts boosting with characters you do like than Freezer Force units that you may not use. And here you can see, obviously it was pretty tough. You can see we got like all 3 down. A lot of the times the battles are not difficult. The big issue is actually just obviously the fact that you, especially if you're saving resources, don't do a lot of damage with some of your other moves. So it just becomes a bit of a war of attrition. But at the end of the day, it's more than fine. You can see here, everything went okay. Everything was fine. We got the mission done, and that means we unlocked Shallot's new Ginyu Force gear. Now, if you want to equip it to Shallot, you just need to go to the Customize section, and then you'll be able to take a look there, which is obviously super duper helpful. and it gives him the Ginyu Force tag, which is pretty important, especially if you're going to summon on the Ginyu Force banner, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, outside of that, that is basically it. It's everything you need to know. If there's anything else you need, yeah, give me a shout. But until then, bye.